can't say it enough. I'm never giving it up. I just love it so much. I love fishing. Man, I love fishing. I can't say it enough. I'm never giving it up. I just love it so much. I love fishing. Man, I love fishing. That's just what I do. I can't say it enough. I'm never giving it up. I just love it so much. I love fishing. Man, I love fishing. That's just what I do.
From deep in the heart of Orlando, Florida, it's the Best of the Outdoors podcast. Brought to you by Texas Fishing Game Magazine, the voice of the Texas Outdoor Nation. I'm your humble host, Dustin Von Warnke, live here in Orlando when I'm recording this podcast. Getting ready to do another podcast to follow that one up with for a future fishing episode. And just recording the bumper, as we call it in radio and podcast world, for this show, because this is a live podcast. We simulcast, I guess if that's a good word for it, that Chester Moore, Cal Gonzalez, and myself did together. And when you put the three of us together, the three horsemen, as Chester calls us, it gets crazy. I mean, we talk about a lot of different things about what fishing means to us, about industry trends, about different things. Wrestling even gets thrown in there. Childhood memories, funny stories. I mean, it's just a blast. So I hope that the Chester, Dustin, and Cal show is rubbing off on you, because I have so much fun doing this show with these two guys. And the podcast that we're getting ready to hear took place the first day of ICAST, and Chester had to leave early for a family thing, and Cal had something going on Thursday night of the show, and then Friday we fly out. So this was kind of the best I could do to get all three of us together in my hotel room, which there's a little bit of an echo in here, as you can probably hear. I'm a little bit closer to the microphone right now than I was when I recorded this, but basically I've lost my voice pretty much, if you can't tell, but basically there's a lot of synergy between the three of us, and I'm just happy to have the chance to do a podcast with two really good friends, and editor-in-chief of our magazine, Chester Moore, and then Cal Gonzalez, the saltwater editor of our magazine. They've been part of the magazine for a lot longer than I have been, but it's just been great to be able to share the synergy between the three of us and our fishing experiences, and kind of bringing you a combined sum total of a lot of fishing years together, in one podcast. So anyway, I'd just love to have a chance to do this. I won't do a bumper on the outro on this. I won't do a rear bumper, as we call it. I'll just end the podcast at the very end of this show live, and so you won't hear me come back through. So I'll go ahead and say what I normally say at the end. Make sure you subscribe to our newsletter list. It is free. You get a new show or new podcast every other Thursday. On that Thursday newsletter, you get a repeat of the week before podcast on one of those Thursday, the other Thursday newsletter, and then the Thursday newsletter is a culmination of a lot of different stories, plus Wednesday and Tuesday's newsletter coverage. And then we turn around and give you, two stories on Wednesday and two stories on Thursday, or two stories on Tuesday, two stories on Wednesday, and then a lot of stories on Thursday. It's kind of like getting a little mini magazine. It's really cool. So if you're not done so already, please subscribe to that newsletter. I know a lot of you guys are new to listening to this, especially you guys that come from the saltwater world. That have checked us out. We talk about the national news of Texas. It's not just Texas-centric, even though we are a Texas-based magazine. We do national when it comes to the digital stuff. I mean, there's a lot of different things that we talk about that relate to national issues, and conservation issues, and wildlife issues, and all kinds of different things like that. So that's an exciting thing about what we do on this podcast, as well as what we do in the digital medium of newsletters, blogs, and articles and things like that we do online, as well as special digital programs, which we just finished one with PowerPole. Fantastic content there. I wrote a couple of, maybe three of the articles there, and then Chester wrote the rest of those. Fantastic ideas coming around about how to use PowerPoles fishing the fishing the what am I trying to say? Fishing the flats, fishing inshore, fishing shallows, fishing all kinds of different brackish water, salt water, fresh water, that kind of stuff. So there's really, really good synergy there for checking out that kind of stuff. So without further ado, here is my interview with our kind of the culmination of the three of our brains put together for Cal Gonzalez, Chester Moore, and myself, Dustin Von Warnke, your host. Thank you guys so much for watching, reading, and listening, and here we go.
And this is the Hard Times, as Dusty Rhodes would have said, 1985 promo podcast from the hotel room.
From the hotel room, baby.
Yeah, but we're still rocking and rolling, strolling and bowling.
There we go, baby. So we're at ICAST. I can't believe it's ICAST 2019, and it's been the first day of the show because of various scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. We're not doing a wrap-up tonight. We're just going to kind of do a kickoff of what's happening here with the ICAST Fishing Trade Show, the fishing industry itself, and which is really a really interesting show. You know, if you don't know what ICAST is, it's basically the show for all the fishing trades. It's not boating, but you see kayaks and those kind of things. It's rods, reels, lures, nets, all that kind of stuff. Buyers come, like say Academy would come to buy, make deals with people and places like that. And the media comes, so we can learn about all the good trades to tell you out there. And so I know that me and Cal have been going for a long time. Yeah, we've had a great time seeing all the stuff. And Dustin's been coming for a few years now as well. It's just a great show.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's the event of the fishing year in the industry. For one, if you will forgive the hyperbole, this is essentially their WrestleMania.
That's a big word.
WrestleMania.
Hyperbole or WrestleMania?
I knew this was going to get into wrestling. I knew this was going to get into wrestling.
This is degenerating quickly.
And yes, it's really going to go there fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, but this really is their big event.
That's why I love you, Cal.
Yeah. They get to polish up everything. They get to bring out all their new gizmos and gadgets, the must-haves, the wanna-haves, and the gotta-haves.
There you go, yeah.
And they just give the journalism side of it all the opportunity to see all of this and then present it to the consumer.
Yeah.
So that the consumers can anticipate it with bated breath. There's another big word.
Bated breath. Words.
There you go. What's coming out in the markets? Behave. And it's really a great show. It's really a great show for all that sort of thing.
Yes.
And we've seen a lot of great innovations this year. We have seen the next step in the evolution of fluorocarbon fishing line. Mm-hmm. We have seen modifications and I'd call them improvements, but it's up to the consumer to decide. Modifications and changes in braided fishing line. Mm-hmm. We have seen ideas manifest themselves in lures, which a lot of anglers are going to look at and say two things. First off, they're going to say, well, why didn't I think of that? And second, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Saw a rod today that records what you caught, where you caught it, the weather conditions when you caught it, and I think
the depth of the water,
and the retail wasn't a whole lot.
That's great.
Well, and then that was like, wow, that was kind of my holy smokes moment for the show.
Does it include the flavor Viennas you had in the box?
Exactly.
My gosh,
that's what I use for carp bait. But just kidding.
That's Dustin's bailiwick right there.
All of a sudden, it's like Dustin's the guy that they end up bringing Gar to at the fishing events.
Gar are awesome though. They're like really good.
Gar are great.
But the carp, no, I'm not a fan. But there's some guys that like to eat them, But
you got an Hispanic guy, you got a Cajun guy. Yep. We're gonna eat some gar.
Yeah.
I'm just straight up.
I will bring the tilling disc. You bring the lard.
You know how a friend of mine cleans gar. I grew up cleaning gar by taking the back fin. We used to gar fish all the time. Meat's great, and we would pop that fin with a machete.
Yep.
I know a dude who uses a saw.
A skill saw? A
sawzall. He uses a sawzall.
I've heard of a skill saw.
I've heard of a sawzall.
Not a
if you have to use a sawzall to get to the meat.
Yeah, that's really
what
the meat.
It's worth meat. It's meat worth getting on.
And we were actually talking about this earlier.
We were at the Pradco booth.
Yeah, about how he uses tin snips, opens it up, takes the tenderloins off along either side of the backbone.
Yep.
And the Mexican in me goes, "My God, that is a waste." What we used to do is just take the thing off with a machete, and then with the same machete, just whack, 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 whack. Take them, drop them into the tilling disc of the lard.
It's like the Asian food market. They just kind of whack it all and just, there's your food.
Let your digestive system figure it out.
So now the circus, the barn has been opened. All the things have escaped.
Yeah.
Let's kind of get back to to what's going on. So let's say one thing before.
Yes.
Kind of the way I look at it is always like, what can benefit the average angler?
Yes.
Yes.
What out there can help people? And my kind of theme for this year was angler accessibility.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
Beating the odds without breaking the bank.
Ease of use.
Yeah.
That's another important part of that.
Sure.
Accessibility, ease of use, enhancement of the fishing experience.
Yes.
And above all, economics, like you brought up.
Yeah, man. So, Dustin, your show. What do you want? Where do you want to go with this?
Well, here's the thing. You call us the Three Horsemen. We're just four. Okay. The thing is, when we get together, we have the best conversations because you never know where this is going to go. Like the last time we got together, Houston Fishing Show, and we got together and did a live show, and we basically talked about what your favorite fishing memories are and that kind of stuff. And so I just wanted to say I'm glad I have you guys both here. It's such an honor to be with you guys.
Well, I'm glad to be here with you guys too.
Great to be here, man.
This is a blast, and we are the Three Horsemen, and we all have our respective nicknames.
Here we go.
Carp guy.
I was thinking more of a Bam Bam.
Oh, Bam Bam, yeah. That's
Dustin Von Bam Bam Warnicki, the Christian Kaiju Chester Moore. And ladies and gentlemen, the Tower of Power, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. Cal, smile when you say that, Gonzalez.
Smile when you say that.
So last night, Dustin and I went to New Product Showcase.
Yes, y'all were there for a while, but we missed y'all.
I was
didn't know
there
they were
too.
there.
And last year I saw a couple of inflatable boats.
Yes.
But there were numerous inflatable boats there.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the coolest thing, is the fact that some of the boat designs and all they're inexpensive. And I was thinking, like, man, on a calm day, you could launch that in the surf real easy.
Yeah, and just head out
to the rigs, hit the edge of the weed lines, that kind of stuff. But that's something else for people who want to go fish in the rocky country along these jagged streamlines and stuff in the Texas Hill Country, places like that in the Panhandle, various river systems, and something we haven't had in Texas last year. So if you go back and read, I believe it was our February issue, we had Lenny Rudo doing a story, Texas Fishing Game. You can go to fishgame.com and read it about inflatable boats. Because last year I said we got to have a story on inflatable boats, but it seems to be kind of the boating story of the year this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and the wild thing is, think about the stigma that used to be involved with inflatable boats.
Yeah.
They were considered toys.
Yeah.
Or they were considered something
like a rescue thing.
Yeah, a rescue thing, or a Charlie Brown summer camp type of
like a raft kind of.
Yeah,
that's what
raft,
I thought when I grew up with a raft.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, that's what but they're so durable and
they are
rigid and so
you can abuse one of those things.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the funny thing is, one of the surf anglers, especially surf shark fishermen, know that they use these inflatables to take out the bait.
That's what I was telling you yesterday, Chester, right? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, those fishermen will take a look at what we have over here at ICAST, and they'll actually ask, what took you so long?
Right. Manufacturer.
Yeah, and once you get the manufacturers behind it, remember what we saw yesterday, they're durable.
Yeah.
They're for want of a better description, they're state of the art.
Yes.
And
the thing that Chester, and I talked about yesterday is just not the accessibility from the affordability level,
right,
but also from the accessibility from the practical level of going places that other boats can't go.
Right.
Right. So I mean, you have the different aspects of that, but basically, I mean, you can be stealthy, like you can with a kayak. But this I forget what company this was, but basically they had like a double runner inflatable kayak, the green one. It
was a double hull.
A double hull, right? And it had a little board on, and they had one last year by the name of Biak, B-I-K, And I talked about that on last year's ICAST podcast because it had a really and I was just thinking how stable that would be. You'd have to darn near fall off of the thing to try to flip it.
Yes, exactly. And what it reminded me of, and I don't mean this in a derogative way, when I looked at it, it made me think of one of those Eagle Scout projects where they have to create a raft.
I love it.
That
That's good.
floats.
That's
You know,
good.
and the design. I actually had a friend, Chris Yuri. Hello, Chris, who designed a raft very much along the lines of the double pontoon with a platform on top.
Yeah.
You know, and it's an ingenious system. You know, and anyone who feels like it'd be embarrassing to have an inflatable like this, forget it. Get that out of your mind completely.
You'll be the cool kid on the block because
Yeah.
you have the new toy.
Yeah, everyone's going to want to come over and say, "Hey, what's that?" And they'll be looking it over, and they'll watch you go out on the water, and they'll watch you come back, and they'll think that's pretty cool. I gotta have one.
Right.
You know,
Speaking
and-
of that, like the accessibility and all those things, talk about the new Hobie Innovation.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You got to go by the press conferences.
Yeah, we actually walked all the way to the pond, and that in and of itself was an adventure because we went to registration, and then you had to walk all the way to the end of the building and all the way to the back, and we are talking the walk from the front to the back to the pond was about a mile.
Yeah.
You know.
Literally, people.
Yeah.
Good exercise.
But they have they have enhanced their leg drive.
I saw that. I saw the
They
video
have,
of that.
They have modified it so now you have 360 degrees of turning radius.
Is it like a rudder or something?
Yes, it's a rudder system.
That,
You
that
know?
was really cool.
And-
Yeah, I saw how he was going around in circles and
Wasn't
stuff.
that
with
cool?
thing. That was so cool.
Yeah, and it's very simple to work. You just turn a knob with your left hand that's on the
Right.
left side,
Right.
and that controls the turning radius.
Okay. Okay.
You know, and this is a question, and I asked it because I know my readers would ask this because I am the saltwater editor. And
Yes.
at the moment, I didn't mean to do it, but I stopped them dead in their tracks with it because I asked, well, how does this system work in a saltwater environment? And we tried it out off of San Diego, and we were fishing for kelp bass on this, and
Sure.
I said, well, how about a high salinity lagoon,
Buoyancy,
like the
a
lower
buoyancy
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
yeah, like the lower Laguna Madre, and
Yeah.
the guy's jaw just dropped.
Oh.
And he goes, well, what kind of salinity does it have? Does it have a higher salinity than the Salton Sea? And I went, yes. And they had to think about an answer
I
for a
see
second.
what you're saying.
Yeah, because
Buoyancy.
of not just the buoyancy, but also the durability of the components.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
that as
because
well. Yeah.
That salt water, Joe Montemayor, who used to own Joe's Tackle, would occasionally open up a casting reel for me to show me. He goes, look at how much salt this sucker picked up in 1 year. And he opens it, and it's just a complete layer of salt.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the salinity and the causticity of that water. So how would the components in this system
Yes.
Sure.
hold up to that?
Ah.
And they said, well,
You gotta have the difficult questions, Cal.
of course. That's
You gotta-
I hate to say I've done that so many. People get mad at me. People get mad at me. I'm afraid.
Yeah, I
and it's-
asked one the other day to someone. They're like, I don't know. But I need to know that.
I've gotten that too. I have gotten that too. You know, and it's not like we're being antagonistic. It's
No.
just it's an important question to ask.
Right.
Yeah.
And finally, one of the members of Hobie said, "Texas really is a different place."
Yes.
You know, and
You think?
And my beloved wife, who is from Michigan, without a moment's hesitation, said, "Oh yeah," just like that. Oh yeah. You know, but long story short, to put a fine point on it, they did come back and say it should hold up well. It's mostly plastic. The metal components, if you do regular maintenance, if you
Right.
wash it off after every use, and you use a little bit of WD-40 every 6 months, it should last forever. You know, now it does have a bicycle chain drive, and
Right.
there is a chance that could seize up, but that's an easy fix.
Okay.
You know,
A little bit of WD-40. and-
yeah, you know, a little WD-40 or you
or
know,
Q-Max, which is my favorite, Q-Max Q20 Blue. Which is my
or
favorite.
like the Mexican way is to get a blowtorch and just keep burning until it loosens up. You know, hey, I gotta give credit to my people. You know, but you know, just a little bit of use and it should work. Please don't send me emails.
Don't send them me for sure. Definitely send him.
Yeah, letter to the editor.
Send them to Dustin.
Yeah, send them all to me. Because I laugh at his jokes. That's why. You know, that makes me even worse, I guess. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, and the thing is, I say this every year, and this is my fourth ICAST. I've been coming since 2016. the innovations continue to be really, I mean, an improvement over something that was already really good, making it even better. And I've run out of ways in my head that it could be any better, but somehow they've made it better.
Yeah, it's
like you were saying about fluorocarbon and that kind of stuff.
There were some lures today that it was in Berkeley. They're power baits that Jordan Lee has right now.
I love Jordan Lee.
Jordan, which is, if you don't know Jordan Lee, he's a phenomenon. He's now in Major League Fishing. He won back-to-back Bassmaster Classic, and he's like 8 years old.
Yeah,
I mean,
27.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
He's 8 in the Bassmaster. But the guy's a literal phenomenon. And I'm looking at this whole rack of lures, and when power baits first came out, of course, power baits all about the taste and scent of the fish, is they looked pretty rudimentary.
Very.
Now, I saw crawfish today that I would throw in a boiling cauldron.
You and I saw one last night at the new.
It looked better than that one, and it was the power bait.
We could tear it open. And
so it got my Cajun instincts thinking.
No, we're cool. You lost sound. Sorry.
It got my Cajun instincts thinking. Well, if it's got power bait and it's got scent stuff, does it taste like a crawfish?
Right.
So I haven't bit into one yet, but I have considered it. Because you got a taste test for the fish, it feels legit, right?
Right, exactly. You know, I mean, if nothing else, you should drop it in a tilling disc and see if it works.
There you go. You know? But that was pretty impressive. That deal was that was a pretty impressive.
We stopped at Live Target today. I had made it an effort to stop at Live Target when I had a moment, because I was really interested in their injected series.
Yeah.
You know. And what they do is they get a clear plastic body, you know, whether it's a hard plastic such as for jigging spoons or soft plastic. And what they do is they create the match the hatch image that Live Target is famous for.
Yeah.
And then they surround it with this clear image so that you have the body of the lure.
Yeah.
But you have a smaller target that is more lifelike for the fish to focus in on. You know, and
a
you
smaller
have
live target, Cal.
Yes, they have a live target.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But sorry.
Yeah. He's here all week, folks.
He's there all week, folks. Yeah.
Be sure to tip your waitresses. But the direct injected technology is really impressive with the appearance, and you still have the action of the paddle tail swim bait, or of the assassin style jerk bait. But you have a more realistic image, and it does not have the silhouette of a swim bait. It has the silhouette of live prey, and it's a remarkable innovation. You know, and really, it's just simple. It's just inserting the body into a clear plastic template.
And what I call that, in my opinion, is final approach technology.
Exactly.
So the fish in a distance isn't going to see all that detail.
No.
But when they're in clear water in particular, and they get closer, that bass that's seen 10,000 lures in 2 weeks go by that log. Would look at it, and nothing would trigger its, you know, it would like
instinct
to go, forget this. You know,
right.
It would trigger the instinct of let's
That's
go
real.
for that.
Yeah.
And then you got your snooty fish.
Yeah.
You know, like snook. Snook are the biggest snobs on the planet. You know, they're like little snooty little fish. You know, like they hang out all the time at wineries. You know, and they always talk about how they need to spend time in the Hamptons.
And they have that
Boston
accent.
There you go. Do your snooty voice.
Chester, I say, Chester.
Yeah.
Chester, I say.
Exactly. It's like, boys, I cannot go for that lure. I mean,
there's the snooty accent.
You know, the snooty accent, and they're so snooty. So you have to try some different things to get those snook to bite if you don't want to throw live bait, of course.
Like having the tilling disc ready.
Yeah, and so some of that stuff helps in the clear water and salt water too. You know, and I've even, believe it or not, seen redfish in super clear water look at you like you're a moron for making the perfect cast. It hit the water perfectly at the perfect spot, but those fish have been really pressured.
Yeah.
And the thing they've been seeing, like that top water you've always thrown, or that plastic, just didn't look.
And the thing is, that's a redfish. You'd figure you could throw a bologna sandwich at a redfish and he'll eat it.
Yeah, basically you usually can.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
know.
But that kind of stuff makes a difference there. So people have asked me before, like, because some of these lures are very expensive.
Yes. You know,
what's the purpose? And I'm like, well, tournament guys want to win the big tournament, but the average guy that's going for that really big fish, that wants to take the difference on that really big wary fish, those are some of the little details that can make a difference.
Yeah, I actually got an email from a reader some time back who asked me, what makes these lures so special? Why should I spend my money on these lures? And the answer I gave him was, well, if you are in a situation where you're catching a fish on every cast, honestly, these are not the lures for you.
For sure.
But if you're in a situation where you're either A, targeting a specific size of fish,
Yeah.
or B, the conditions are very difficult, these are the lures that will improve your chances at success.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like you said, they close the distance.
Right.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
if you're to create an analogy, if you are a rifleman with a dead eye, you don't necessarily need a scope for a long shot.
Yep.
But there are times where that scope will improve your chances of success.
Right.
You know, these lures are that. The tackle that we have seen, the fishing reels, the fishing rods, are the exact same thing. I saw a reel today at the Daiwa booth, which was specifically designed for the Texas coast. It's their new Daiwa inshore reel, and it was specifically designed for our preferences, our needs, and our requirements.
Okay.
It has the same features as the previous models of the inshore, but they tweaked it specifically for the Texas coast. It has a smaller handle. It has the bigger paddles, it has the smaller paddles, but the same longer handle, because the bigger paddles were considered overkill. We like the torque, but we don't need the oversized features. It's an excellent reel, you know. I mean, and it's still very much in the price range of anyone who wants to own a Daiwa coastal reel. We saw the latest incarnation of the Stratic from Shimano. Another excellent reel. It features all of the. It actually features some of the advantages that you have in the Stella. You know, in their internal drive
How long has
chain.
the Stella been out now?
Good gosh, the Stella's been out 20 years now.
Yeah, it's been
over
it's
20
got like
years.
one of their. It's like their
Flagship.
Their flagship. Yeah.
You know, and as a segue to that, an interesting story was one of the people at Mike Antuna, one of the people at Shimano, told me that when they originally designed the reel, they just thought it was going to be a luxury item essentially, because who's going to pay $600 for an inshore reel? They can't keep them on the shelves.
They're not made for the record. Just like
I remember one time I held one up to my wife. I go, "Look, honey, this is how we'll get our house." She goes, "What do you mean you'll get our house that way?" I go, "Well, if I buy this reel, I got to buy that rod." And I pointed at G. Loomis. And she goes, "And that's going to get me a house?" I go, "No, that's going to get me a boat." She goes, "What do you mean it's going to get you a boat?" "Well, I can't use a rod and reel like this, just waiting around and walking up ears." And she goes, "So you have to get a boat and that gets me a house?" I go, "No, honey, that gets us a new truck." She goes, "What? Well, I can't tow a brand new boat with our ratty old truck."
I love where this is going.
And she goes, "I think I know where this is going." She said it just like that. I go, "Right. If we get that truck, we have to have a nice house to put it in front of. So this reel will get us our house."
But the house.
And she goes, "I see. No." So that was the end of that idea.
You know, something this year that I saw and I was like very happy to see is that there is a tremendous growth and interest from the industry side in shark fishing.
Definitely.
I mean, it's their shark stuff
I've noticed that too.
everywhere. Everybody has a shark rod. Everybody has shark hooks displayed.
Yes.
Everybody has shark merchandise. Everybody's talking about, you know, some of the kayaks and stuff, paddling out to bring your lures. There are people here like we had last year. We interviewed with the drones for that stuff.
Yes.
And they're actively talking about being for shark fishing. And I think one of the really cool things about that is that it's the shark fishing, in my opinion, is the most underutilized. It's growing, but adventure fishing in America.
Yeah. And it's very simple. It's a very simple adventure. Go out to your beach and set up.
It's like hog hunting. Like we were talking about on your show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you take a lure, chunk it far as you can. I mean, a bait, chunk it far as you can, and wait. Hopefully you got a good area, the right tides, but it's something that offers something to people.
Yes.
And what I'm seeing is 20-somethings
Yes,
that
definitely.
are very much getting into the shark thing. And the great part about that is it's a conservation ethic.
Yes.
They are doing it, and they're getting involved with organizations that are tagging sharks and tracking their movements. So they're actively releasing these sharks, tagging them, and then the outgrowth of that has been just tremendous support for shark conservation. And sharks are such a vital part of our ecosystem.
Yeah.
And the only man in America I'm jealous of, and I'm jealous of no one,
I know.
is a guy 3 years ago surf fishing in Panama City, Florida. Caught up the first ever known great white from the surf.
Yes.
They caught it in the Gulf of Mexico.
That's
And they were
crazy.
tagging sharks and tagged it. I'd be like, I dropped the rods and I dropped the bite.
I'm
I'm
done.
out.
Yeah,
I'm
that's it.
tired.
That's it.
You
It's
can't go
over.
higher than
Yeah.
that one right there.
It's over.
I'm
But
going to go back to brim fishing.
yeah,
now.
we're going back to the pond.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
the,
but
the bar ditch.
What part of the Gulf of Mexico?
Panama City,
Panama
Florida.
City.
Okay, I guess you said that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But
Eastern
the
Gulf.
cool thing about that is now we're seeing a lot of stuff where I think we're going to start seeing more innovative products and things specifically for sharks, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm already seeing it with people talking about like the gloves for handling.
Yes.
And, you know, they're actually putting sharks on icons on their things now because they got the sandpaper skin you can cut yourself.
Yeah,
you know, you want to
can
have
get torn
certain
up
things.
pretty
And,
seriously.
you know, so just different little things
Sure.
that are being
Sure.
tweaked like that.
Yeah, we were over at the Eagle Claw booth, and they are beginning to develop a large inline circle hook
Yeah.
specifically for shark fishing, especially because in areas such as Florida, it is now illegal to use an offset circle hook for shark.
I've heard that.
That's right.
You know, so they are developing an inline circle hook. They're also planning on trying to develop a barbless circle hook. And really, you know, with a circle hook, you don't need a barb.
No.
You know, once that sets in the corner of the mouth, it's not moving.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Like that, the fish can swallow a circle hook. I've seen it
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And
too, yeah.
trying to get that thing with the barb out,
Good luck.
forget about it.
Yeah.
You know, so
The
you cause some
damage it
damage.
creates is
Yeah.
lethal.
And
You
the
may as well
beautiful
leave it in.
thing is, it's so anti-snobbery to catch a shark.
I know.
You know, I've always wanted one of these trout snob guys. One of these guys are like, everything has to be, you know, like if you ever keep any trout, you're
You're a bad man.
You're gonna burn in hell, that kind of thing.
Trout
I've always
snob.
wanted that big trout they have to be coming right up to them, and about a 5-foot bull shark just come up. And,
Chomp it. Yeah, exactly.
These are the kind of stories we tell on this podcast, and the three of us get together because.
well,
it's
I, you know,
like-
I had a guy tell me he went tarpon fishing here, and he was upset because of like a 10-foot hammerhead came up. They got it on video eating a tarpon. I'm like, yes, the tarpon.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's
That's
a
awesome.
win.
I would go tarpon fishing to see that.
That is a win, right? there.
I was actually talking to someone today that he had hooked into a 3-pound tarpon,
Yeah.
and he had it at the boat, and about a 300-pound Goliath grouper came up.
Oh,
and just took
wow.
it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, thank you.
Nature.
Thanks for playing.
Next.
And he goes, I was so mad. I go, I thought I would have just been. Did you see that?
Did you see? Check that out.
No, since I mentioned trout snobs, I love the speckled trout. I wrote a book on them.
Yeah.
But I want to mention that too. So,
I love him too in the disc.
Yeah. One of the things that I always see is when you start seeing things appearing in marketing, like icons on a package.
Yes.
Even the subtlest hook package. You know that these companies are starting to think that speckled trout are finally starting to show up on packaging.
Yes.
Like even shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
although there is a mullet on there as well, but
Yeah,
they're eating the mullet.
There's
There should be a
something to be
croaker,
said about the mullet.
or a ballyhoo.
Yeah.
But
Humble mullet. Yeah.
but the truth is, we're starting to see people thinking, because the fishing companies in America are based in the Northeast, usually California or Florida,
Yeah.
and Florida trout aren't that important
No, they're not impressed with trout.
because they got snook, they've got everything else.
Yeah.
But Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, huge.
Their trout are big.
So they're starting to see that this giant market over here. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot more speckled trout specific lures and stuff.
I agree.
We've always had some, like, you know,
Zara Spook was
yeah,
one.
the Zara spook with the trout. And you think about even the Zara spook with the baby trout.
Yes.
You and I both know Big Sal trout will eat
A baby
a
trout.
baby trout. But I think we're going to start seeing stuff that'll be like for those guys fishing the skinny water, the wade fishermen, the hardcore fishermen,
Yes.
in the trout market. And I'm kind of excited about that because I think there is a lot to be learned. I think I wrote a story 20 years ago for Texas Fishing Game called Age of the Super Trout.
I remember that.
And it was about 20 years ahead of its time.
Yes.
It's about kind of happening now that I think we're going to start seeing real research into that. and we're going to see the speckled trout kind of given more of its due from the industry.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, and you see a lot of that happening. Again, going back to Live Target, they've designed some mullet baits. They have a swimming mullet, which is a topwater that looks exactly like a mullet. I have one at home, or I have what's left of one because the trout have just torn that poor thing.
Tore it up.
It's not a floating lure anymore. It's a slowly sinking lure.
Maybe like accidentally create the new sensation, you know, like with the action. But that's cool, man. Like a company like Live Target taking that innovation for speckled trout, you know, fun stuff.
Chester, last year I'm bringing this up. Last year you had submitted a prediction that finesse baits for trout.
Yes.
We're going to be, you remember that?
They're coming, yeah.
We're going to be the next, so are you seeing that trend?
That's kind of where I'm seeing it go.
Okay,
It's starting to develop,
Right. I was just curious.
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing that go that way because they're getting, people are, you know, with the advent of the internet, even guys like in Florida's got some big, the world record trouts in Florida, Indian River,
17.
you know? Yeah. Even guys here who have done the snook thing are kind of starting to turn that a little bit more toward trout, because of the challenge nature of it, you know, and it's kind of a new frontier. And what I tell people all the time is the reason the trout drives the market in Texas. The trout drives our coastal market. Even though more people catch redfish,
right?
The trout drive the market because if you're inland fishing, you're basically trying to catch one under 28.
Yeah.
Right? But what it really gets fishermen excited is the possibility.
Yes.
Of the monster.
Of the monster.
Yes.
So that trout is always that possibility.
Right.
And that also drives management. And, you know, there are different things about that. But I really think we're going to, the next 5 years, I think are going to be very trout-centric. And I think we're going to see a whole new level of things for speckled trout. And I don't even doubt that we start having, with so many companies having scents and lures and things.
Yes.
I wouldn't doubt someone has, well, this will be controversial, Croaker scented.
Oh my gosh! Actually,
seriously, I'm being
you
serious.
open up the can and you're like,
I mean, Live Target already has the mullet,
the mullet
swim bait.
Yeah, they do.
You know, and I remember when I first introduced that last year to the readers, there was actually a very visceral reaction from people.
Yeah.
But I think that's coming, and I think that'll be kind of cool because we are. You take Florida out of the equation because their world record status. Otherwise, we're the trout capital. Louisiana's got lots of them, but we got more big fish.
Yeah.
You know?
So Live Target's got pogies or menhadens, whatever you want to call them, but they also have. Do they not have croakers yet?
Yes,
they do. They do
Live
have a
Target
croaker.
has croaker swim baits. I've got a couple.
Yeah,
I mean
they do.
3 sizes.
3 sizes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They have 3 sizes. They have
The
3
croaker's
styles.
the one last year that got me thinking about the finesse type lures.
Yes.
For the trout.
Yep. But the Croaker is the one that we thought would throw like a whole wrench in the engine.
Yeah,
of the whole
we
thing.
made predictions.
We made predictions last year in this thing. I remember in this podcast last year.
But wait till they come out with an official croaker scent.
Oh, that is going to be.
I can just see everybody spraying that stuff and dipping their bait.
I'm gonna use it as cologne.
Hi, Chester's anti-establishment. All right, Cal, you've got to do your. This podcast is brought to you by.
This cast is brought to you by the number 9, by the letter K, and the letter I, as in ICAST.
Every year I have to have you do that. That's so funny. Anyway, it's just random, but it's
For you,
funny.
Dustin, anything for you, brother.
I know. I'm just saying. So.
Okay, Ken. When we were at the fishing show, we talked about fishing memories, and all of this means nothing without the fun, the family, the faith,
Oh,
no
all
kidding.
that stuff. So, do you guys have a good fishing memory from this year? Is there something that you've got to do this year that really is special?
Does it have to be from this year?
If you haven't fished this year,
No, I fished this year. I fished this year.
Well, tell us about the last gar you cleaned.
Everybody stands around me at these fishing
Gasper
events.
goo.
Okay, all right.
All right.
So
I was joking, man.
we caught a Gasper goo, and it was and everybody was like, "Oh, are you gonna eat that thing?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, we're gonna eat that thing." But anyway, 2 years ago, all right, I've told this story I think on the show before, so forgive me, but Jackson and I are bait fishing. We're just going for bluegill, right?
Yeah.
One of the funnest, coolest freshwater adventures. It's easy, it's fun, it's an easy win for your kids. I'm bringing in a bluegill for him because he didn't want to reel it in. giant 5-pound bass comes up and slams that bluegill and runs off with it. And I'm just like, him and I are both like, what was that? I mean, it happened so fast.
Yeah.
I couldn't even put it into words. Like, look at that, son, because we were both like, I almost dropped the rod out of my hand. I was like, I've never seen it. So that was cool because the bass jumped out of the water, and then another bass came behind him trying to get it away from him.
That was essentially a bass saying, "Here, hold my beer."
What about you, Kyle?
For this year or just in general, because I got one that makes me
Well,
think.
go for it, Kyle. There you go.
When I was 19 years old, I was cleaning some flounder I'd caught in the surf over at Jim's Pier, the old Jim's Pier. And what was best known about this place was that he had a huge opening in the middle of the pier around the fish cleaning area where you dump
your guts.
Yeah, dump the guts. And there was this gigantic school of hardhead catfish, and I'm talking 5 to 7 pound hardhead.
Those are
monsters,
hardheads, man.
and they just come and tear everything up. And you look at it and go, "You
No
did not want to
hyperbole
fall."
here. They're all state record hardheads.
It's pretty honest. You did not want to fall in there.
Yeah, because you get the poison in your...
Yeah. Well, what was funny? Well, this is the funny part, and in a way, it's not that funny, but it was. This guide that I knew, Gilbert Vela, he comes in and he's got a client. And the client had taken his son, and his son had caught his first fish ever. And it was, may God strike me down if I'm lying, it was a croaker. About 6 inches long, and it looks like the kid had caught the croaker and never let it go.
That's a great fish.
like this.
He had been holding it. I mean, the thing was dry, it was dead, it had that looked like it had just seen the Madonna on its face. And he's running around showing it to everyone. Hey, that's a great fish. Great going, kid. Oh, get this thing out of my face. And then the kid decides it's time to let it go. You see where this is going, don't you?
Where this is going, baby.
So he runs over to where the opening was, and he drops it in there. And the thing is just floating on the surface for a moment. And all of a sudden, this 2.5 foot long hardhead dog bones it. Right in front of him, dog bones it. And swims off. You could have heard that scream all the way to San Antonio. The father, who had been inside the shop buying a beer, comes running out.
He thought something was really wrong with the kid. Yeah.
He's ready to do karate.
Right. Something's hurt his kid.
He sees his kid doing the typical little kid things, stomping in place, face beat red.
Fish, Daddy.
So he runs over. What? So the kid tells him what happened. That the big fish grabbed his little fish. And the dad looks at him and, what? And again, even louder. The big fish took my little fish. And this is when you realize dads have to know how to think on their feet.
You better be right.
He looked that little boy right in the eye and lied. And said, "Oh, no. He was just taking your fish to the fish hospital so he could get better." And the kid with this glazed donut face looks at him and goes, "Really?" And the dad goes, "Yeah." And then he looks up at me and goes, Right. Now there I was at a crossroads in my life. Because I could have looked at them in the eye and said, "No, he's dead and he's never coming back." But the angels of my better nature took over, and I said, "Oh yeah, fish hospital. He's going to recover and lead a life of spiritual fulfillment."
I can't breathe.
So as far as I know, to this day, 24 years later,
it was that long
that
ago.
kid still believes his croaker's all right.
I hear you. Well, my story isn't quite as dramatic, but it's pretty cool.
Did my story initiate
that made me remember that.
Dear Lord, this has gone south. But so this year, my wife and I have a ministry in our mission in Love of Christ, hurting kids through wildlife encounters, and we have our main programs called Wild Wishes. That's where we grant wildlife encounters for kids with a terminal illness, the loss of a parent or a sibling.
Yes.
And I got 2 boys in the program, Jackson and Amos, and they've suffered pretty tremendous loss in their life, and really feel the need to reconnect with the Lord. So let's take them on. I talked to Jackson's dad, and who's Amos's uncle, and let's take them on a Guadalupe fishing expedition. We went 4 days in the Texas Hill Country fishing for Guadalupe bass.
That's fantastic.
And we were in the Nueces River. We stopped at one little spot on the creek in the middle of nowhere, and we just whacked Rio Grande cichlids.
Oh,
and they're so beautiful, so fun.
yes, they are. They're great.
They're
And then
hard
we went,
fighters too.
and then
yeah.
we went into the Nueces River actually and found a really good group of Guadalupe bass. And there were so many brim in the river, we were catching every cast. We probably each caught, in that 4 or 5 hour run there, 50, 60 fish. And we caught our Guadalupe bass. And I'm looking at, I'm in this, in my own right, I'm like, I've been like to the mountain fishing. Like, I've been like, Wells catfish in Spain and just crazy stuff I've been so blessed to do. But I'm watching little boys be little boys and not thinking about all the crap that life's dealt them at times. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at these two little boys that have loving families and situations that have happened, and I'm looking at them being kids again.
Yes.
And for a moment, they're totally forgetting about that, and they smile at like big as Texas, and I got back to thinking, that's what fishing means. I wrote a column a while back about the red, white, and blue bobber.
Yes, I've read that one.
I read that
and
one
I
too.
said, if I ever get to the point where I look down on seeing the red, white, and blue bobber go under and wondering what's on, I need to quit.
Yeah.
And that was kind of that moment with those boys.
Well, Chester, what that story does, and thank you for sharing it.
Yep.
Thank you very much for sharing it. I know that I got in. Mine was funny, and
no, I love yours. Dude.
Yeah, well,
can't beat the croaker in the hospital, man.
Right? The image, but
I can't even get that one. I thought mine was cool. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, yours was awesome too. But yours, yours shows how fishing can heal the heart and heal the soul.
Yep.
I'm sure you read it.
Yep.
Sometime back, I wrote about when I was sitting in my dialysis chair, and the patient next to me coded.
I read that,
Yep.
And they couldn't bring her back.
Yep.
And I had in my head rolling around the defibrillator's voice, the canned voice, re-energize, discharge, re-energize, discharge, over and over again. It traumatized me.
Sure.
And I had to get away. So I drove all the way down to the island. I didn't intend to catch anything. I just needed to get into the monotonous rhythm of casting and retrieving.
Yep.
Right.
And that healed me.
Sure.
It helped me cope. Fishing does that.
Yeah.
At its base, fishing helps you return to that elemental state that people like Walt Whitman have written about.
Yep.
People like Lefty Kreh wrote about. People like Zane Grey and Ernest Hemingway wrote about. It heals you. It gives you that moment to just ground yourself, even if you're a child.
Sure. But it brings you back to being a child.
Yes, it does.
Before
Yes,
somebody's
it does.
told you that you're too fat, you're too stupid, you're too ugly, your
Yeah.
dreams will never come true. It's that little boy, it's that little girl who wants to be an astronaut, a rock star, a TV fishing show host, and some adult tells them along the way they can't.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
When you're fishing, possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Fishing is the great equalizer.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
you're
that's a
out
good
there
one.
no matter who you are. And that's why I refuse to let any numbnut, any absolutely idiotic person out there who tries to make this about anything more than
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
enjoyment.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Let's
You know?
keep it about the enjoyment.
Exactly.
Let's have fun, and fishing can inspire, it can save, it can
Yes.
heal,
Mm-hmm.
and it can provide for the family food.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. And I
It
think
is.
everyone in this room has had a beautiful memory, or many beautiful memories fishing.
Yes.
And now we get to go. We're very blessed to work in the industry and work in
Yeah.
Texas Fishing Game. We get to go represent the ICAST show.
Yes.
If you told me when I was a little boy, I would be with the largest independently owned outdoor magazine in America as editor-in-chief at a major fishing trade show with friends of mine doing a broadcast can be heard by thousands. I'd have said you're crazy. But it showed that little boy who was watching a red, white, and blue bobber in the gully by my house going under. It showed that the dreams he had in his mind that other people said were impossible were possible. And that's what fishing means to me. Endless possibilities.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I tell people that this is one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given. I get to fish, I get to write about it, and people read what I write and take it seriously.
Yeah.
And how magnificent is that?
It's a beautiful thing, man.
ICAST, it might be an industry event, but to me, it's a celebration of fishing.
That's
you
it.
know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Everyone, all the people are involved. Yeah, they make money in it, but you've got to love what you do in order to do it to the level that they have,
Sure, yeah.
and to achieve what they have achieved.
Right.
I saw over at the Livingston booth, I saw the Bassmaster Classics trophy.
Mm-hmm.
And who would have thunk at some point that bass fishing or any kind of fishing would have such a notable and prestigious event? Fishing,
Sure.
you know? Isn't that great?
It's a beautiful thing.
You know,
It's like the Super Bowl of fishing. You know?
I sat with WrestleMania. I sat with Bill Lowen today and had lunch, a snack after lunch today. Bill Lowen is a Bassmasters Elite Series pro. He's an
Yes.
Express Boats pro, and I sat with him and talked about it. He said his whole goal growing up was to one day fish the Bassmaster Classic. He said he knew he would have made it if he fished it one day. Well, 13 years ago, he got caught up to the Elite Series, and in the first year, he fished the Bassmaster Classic.
Well, there you go.
So those are dreams that come true.
Yeah.
And just I think it's a great way to kind of wrap up. And
Yes.
it's a fun thing. If be checking out some of the things we're going to be having. We're going to have some wrap up stuff coming up on the website, fishgame.com, the e-newsletter for next week. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's good,
Yep.
guys. So, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I appreciate both of y'all so much. And,
Dustin, it's a privilege.
Well, thank you.
All joking aside, all fun, it's a privilege to be around all of you.
Absolutely. man.
I feel the same way about
That
you
was
guys.
mine. Yep.
Absolutely. So, thank you guys so much for watching, reading, and listening. Have an awesome day in the outdoors. We'll see you next time.